Olá, amigos da hipnose, a você, estudante de hipnose. Hoje, aqui no canal do YouTube, eu quero compartilhar com vocês uma videoaula sobre uma técnica avançada de hipnose ericksoniana. Essa técnica avançada, ela corresponde à técnica de você controlar o seu tom de voz, a direção da sua voz ao falar para o sujeito durante o transe hipnótico ou durante o preparo da indução já. Essa é uma técnica avançada ensinada por Milton Erickson a todos os seus alunos. Só que essa aula vai ser dada não por mim, por um dos melhores e maiores divulgadores da hipnose ericksonianas, o Zeig, que foi aluno e amigo de Milton Erickson. Escreveu vários livros sobre ele e sobre suas técnicas, inclusive ministrando cursos aqui em São Paulo, no Brasil. Então segue essa aula com legenda, porque ele fala inglês e não fala português, está legendado, mas ele explica de uma forma muito bacana como você controlar o seu tom de voz para iniciar e provocar resultados na elaboração psíquica do sujeito, e também como direcionar o lado que você fala para cá, para baixo, como isso provoca dentro do sujeito, de uma forma de sugestão verbal, diversas elaborações para diversas curas psíquicas. Segue essa aula, eu espero que você goste, estude essa aula, anote, faça anotações para que você reveja quantas vezes for necessário. Essa é a minha dica, essa é o que eu quero compartilhar com vocês hoje. Obrigado e até breve.
I don't know that either.
Are you feeling comfortable?
Oh, I'm feeling better. Yeah. I hope that the people here are not bothered by my interruption.
Yes. You're not feeling self-conscious?
I'd probably be better sitting in the back. But I now...
Out of sight.
Out of sight? Well, maybe.
What's that?
Inconspicuous.
So you don't like being conspicuous?
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
You don't like what I'm doing to you right now.
No. Well, I have mixed feelings. I'm flattered by the attention, and I am curious about what
You wish the hell I'd stop.
Mixed feelings. Feelings. If I was just talking to you and hadn't interrupted, that would be one thing. But
So you're concerned about these people?
Well, yes. I spare time here, and I walked in on that time.
Now let's lay to rest. Another firm belief that in doing psychotherapy, you should make your patient feel at ease and comfortable. I've done my best to make her feel at ease, conspicuous, as embarrassed. And it's hardly a way to begin a good therapeutic relationship, is it? Close your eyes and keep them closed. Go deeply into trance and feel very comfortable.
Let's consider that last segment, and let's look a little bit into the context first. First of all, we see the Italian therapist, Rosa, and she is sitting in a posture that is somewhat defensive seeming. Her arms are crossed, her legs are crossed, and she's leaning away from Erickson. But remember, she's been displaced. In the beginning of the day, Erickson said that she was the one with whom he was going to do the work, and now he has started to utilize Sally, and he has displaced Rosa. We're going to return to that because the social context of a setting is going to be important later on. Let's consider the technique that Erickson uses in working with Sally. First of all, Sally says that she doesn't like being conspicuous, but her verbal protest seems different from her presentation. She comes in late, she's wearing a tank top, she's a very attractive woman, and then she says that she doesn't want to be conspicuous and that she wants to sit in the back of the room. And yet she's done all of these things which really make her more conspicuous. So there are some incongruities between her nonverbal behavior and her verbal behavior that Erickson is quite aware of. And we see those in a number of ways throughout the session. Some of the incongruity between the words that she says and the actions that she takes. When Erickson starts the hypnosis, it's a surprise induction, and it's based on the idea of arm levitation. But before Erickson does the arm levitation, he establishes a setting of physical comfort. And the way that he does that is by changing the locus and the tone of his voice. Erickson softens his voice and uses tactile terms. And he speaks to the floor as he softens his voice, and he says, "Now let's lay to rest another firm belief that in doing psychotherapy, you should make your patient feel at ease." And we see Sally drop from consciousness a little bit, and she rests her body as Erickson says those words. And Erickson was very aware of how people respond to implication in many different ways. People respond to the tone of voice, to the tempo of voice, to the locus of voice, the direction of voice. And it was as if he had one voice, "Now I'm talking to your conscious mind," and another voice, a softer, directed voice, "Now I'm talking to your unconscious mind." And when Erickson would drop his voice, change the direction, it was as if his voice would become internal dialogue for the person, because the direction wasn't what is customary. Customary is when I'm talking to you, I look at you. And suddenly Erickson would be talking to you, but he would be directing his voice to the floor. Again, trying to develop a fertile bed of responsiveness, wanting the person, the patient, to respond not only to his words, but also to his tone, his tempo, and to the direction of his speech. Then Erickson uses the surprise arm levitation induction. He reaches over, and in an uncertain way, he begins to lift her arm. And as he's lifting her arm, he is also using some dissociation because he doesn't really look at the arm. He looks at her, fixes her vision with his gaze, as on another level he's lifting the arm. When he lifts the arm, the implication is that she will have an arm levitation and keep her arm in that cataleptic posture. Yet, there's a resistant moment. And at that resistant moment, she starts to put her arm down. And so attuned was Erickson to the moment that when she started to put her arm down, he took charge. And he pushed her arm down, which was one of Erickson's techniques of working with resistance, was to take charge of the resistance. When he put her arm down, he was in charge. And yet, we have a hanging thread. And this hanging thread will be important later. Erickson was quite a dramatist. If there was a hanging thread in the story, in the drama of the moment, he would return to that later. So we're going to see later that Erickson keeps track of that moment. He returns to that moment at the end of the induction so that she does eventually get the arm levitation under his guidance. So now let's turn to the next portion of the tape, a portion in which we see the regression induction, which is based on mostly direct suggestion, still using possibility words, using implication, using a fixation and absorption of attention with his verbal and nonverbal technique to get her to respond to the idea of going back in time. And remember, this regression was seeded, it was foreshadowed by the previous allusion to the nursery rhyme in which Erickson set the stage for regression.